The time is finally here. We are sharing the McGee home with you. We have been designing everyone else's dream homes and living in rentals for the past 5 years. And now it is our turn. Our dream of building a house for our family is coming to life. It's been a really interesting experience being on the other side of the table, and I am nervous and excited and all of the emotions today.
And all I want is a skate ramp in the basement. She can do all the other pretty stuff she wants.
My name is Tyler Farrell. I am the owner of Killowen Construction. We do custom homes throughout most of northern Utah.
Tyler, bless his heart for working with me the last couple of years. We worked on a parade home, a Red Ledges project, a couple of years ago, and we had the best working relationship. I loved the dynamic of working together, but also the end product.
Then they asked me to do their home, and obviously I'm thrilled to be working with designers of their level. And when you build for someone, you build their personal home, you get to know that person. Like, boundaries drop. It's the most expensive thing they'll ever buy. They raise their children there. It's very personal.
Every detail was important to me. When you're building a custom home, you have to think of like, how many inches is the overhang of my roof going to be? What is my drip edge color? And he helped me work through all of those things, and he was so patient.
Yes, there's hard days in building a custom home. There's concessions you need to make because something's just not working. And I can honestly say, Shay was so down to earth. The stress gets knocked up a little bit some days. And I was always waiting for the day that she would explode or just lose it, and she never did. She always had a level head, and Sid, if there ever was a little bit of stress, like Sid comes in and just, it's gone. Let's talk about my half pipe.
We were really set on having a lot that was at the back of a cul-de-sac because for years in our rentals, we didn't really have backyard spaces and we didn't have fences, and the girls would just stress me out by running into the street, and I wanted a safe place for them to just run wild and play.
So the framing of this house, the challenge was in Utah, we don't stop during the winter. We just pushed a lot of snow and kept going.
I really love flat exteriors. I think that they have this grand, traditional but modern mix, and that's what I'm all about. I think I might cry. Our windows are going in. In a new build, selecting your windows is one of the earliest decisions you make during framing. So I had to make the black versus white decision, which honestly wasn't a hard decision for me because I had always wanted classic white windows. We made them more modern by doing a really thin mullion detail, and they're casement windows. So instead of the double hung or single hung where you can have that divider and push them up, they actually swing out, which gives them a more streamlined look. I had a very strong idea of what I wanted on the front elevation of our home. I know I wanted 2 symmetrical gables and that I wanted our garage to be a different material.
The exterior materials that we selected, the brick turned out awesome. Shay picked out one pretty quickly that she loved.
I love historical homes, and I love that chalky effect of a masonry paint. So I did some research and ended up going with Romabio. Not sponsored, just fell in love with this masonry paint that allows the brick to still breathe, and we could tint it any color. So we tried a bunch of different white paints and landed on White Dove by Benjamin Moore, and it is the perfect soft white. We did that throughout the brick and the siding and the trim.
The siding, we used a smooth hardy board siding material, and we shrunk the lap depth, which gives it a little more custom look.
The stone, oh my gosh, the stone gave me a lot of headaches. I had this thought that we would break up a lot of the white with stone accents in a section of the home, and that would wrap all the way around the side, the chimney, and then the back of our house in this great textural, old stone look.
We put a lot of stone samples up on the wall, and it actually turned into a mini showroom for the community.
Right here is probably my most diva moment in the whole house build. The drama of our stone. I cannot seem to find a stone and grout mix that I am excited about. So right here, I like the tones of the stone, but they felt a little flat, and then they tried to do an overgrout to kind of make it look older, which is the look I'm going for, and then it doesn't work. Here, I feel like it just looks like a giraffe, like with the stark contrast of the stones and the grout. Over here, it is actually the same exact stone as over on the left, but for some reason it has a lot of linear pieces in it, and I'm not sure why, and I feel like that makes it look too modern. That said, I like the color of it, and I think that the color of the grout is really nice. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. And finally, we landed on the perfect one.
We finally got there by whitewashing or overgrouting some of those areas that were popping too much.
I love that we still have a white house, but it feels different than every other white house that you see out there because of the texture that we added.
We have 3 really beautiful materials centered with the brick, stone, and the siding. I think she did a really good job mixing those.
Those are cedar shingles. They are going on this week. I get a lot of questions about our copper gutters and if I am worried about them changing. I'm not worried because I know they're going to change, and that's why I went with them. I wanted a finish that would patina and give character to our home so it did not look cookie cutter. They age and weather and give your house a lot of character from the get-go. I wanted bluestone on our porch. Bluestone has this beautiful color and texture, but it's so expensive. So instead of doing it up our entire pathway, we did it on our porch and those 2 steps. But then we did an interesting detail with the concrete to give really good curb appeal, but at a lower price point.
What we ended up doing was you step down and you have the rectangle squares of concrete that look like kind of flagstones with 6 inches of grass in between. And Shay drew that up and it was perfect.
I actually am really glad that we did that because I think it adds some interest to the front of the home.
The front door was a custom door designed by Shay that we built.
The front door is definitely a focal point of our home. It started as a rectangle and everything was falling a little bit flat for me. So once I saw the rendering with an arch, I knew that was it. And I wanted it to be black, a nice contrast against the white paint. We went with Black Magic by Sherwin-Williams. And then the other thing that we had to really work through was how do we do trim on the house? We have brick, we have stone, we have siding. So do we put this like wood trim on everything? I opted to just do it on the wood siding, and then we did a header and a sill, which is like a turned brick look, to frame out our windows in the brick sections. These are the details that make homes feel more custom, and I am so happy when I drive up and see the front of our house every day. So it is winter here in Utah, and we have photos and footage from earlier last year, but we will come back and revisit the backside of our house later this spring when the snow melts, and it's much prettier then. We're going to be sharing the full home finishes. So that's the main finishes throughout the home, and we'll be giving you details and sources next time we see you.